Namaskaram. Let's begin with three chants of Aum. But before that, I'd like to warn and caution those of you who have not watched the previous three episodes of Kids to stop this video kindly. Watch the previous three episodes before you visit this one, because we are going to have a practical experience which may not be conducive unless and until you have watched the previous three episodes. Thank you. Three chants of Aum. शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगम्. Many of you might have thought why I abruptly stopped at 3/4 of the second line of this 4-line shloka, and that's because I wanted to give you an out-of-the-body experience, perhaps for the first time. Because with the previous 7 names which we encountered in the last 2 days, with 2 videos for yesterday, total of 3 videos, where we saw ourselves as an embodiment of peace at the base of the spine, ourselves as the mystical and relaxed, restful individual at the solar plexus, ourselves as the capable person to handle our memory in a detached fashion at the navel, all of which are in the subtle body, ourselves as transcending the passion of rajas and venturing into the territory of sounds and mastering that at the heart chakra. Then recognizing our own foundational creative nature as the framework of anything and everything that we encounter in this entire universe, including ourselves, at the pit of the throat. Having a view of the entire space-time and the Panchabhutas, which we have transcended at the third eye between the eyebrows, the pituitary and the pineal conformally mapped to the subtle body, and of the color of the dark clouds, with the same characteristic of how they are formed and how they extinguish themselves into rain. at the fontanel. Now these 7 that we have considered in the past 3 videos of the last 2 days were all in the realm of the physical body, conformally mapped to the subtle body. But now, finally, we have an opportunity to escape from the physical, to escape from the boundaries, to escape from the limitations. Already now that we have transcended the Panchabhutas, including space-time, now with the intuition from the third eye and the nothingness at the Sahasrara, we are now able to fly out of this physical body while it maintains its involuntary functionalities like the heartbeat and respiration. We slowly and gradually climb up a couple of inches above the fontanel, above the Sahasrara Chakra today for the first time, to encounter the Matru Pitru Chakra, or the most auspicious beginning of the Pitru Paksha or the Mahalaya Paksha, which is the dark, waning phase of this particular month of Bhadrapada, in the Amantaka system, where the months end with an Amavasya. And at this particular location, we come to the last of the names in the first half of our meditation shloka, called Shubhangam. What is Shubhangam? Shubhangam, Shubha Angam. Angam is a part, usually referring to the part of the body. We discussed this in the context of Anganyasaha, or establishment of deities and divinities in various parts of our body yesterday. But today, we are looking at not the regular Angam, but Shubhangam, the auspicious part, not of the body, but of ourselves, as being Prana and Brahman absolutely. And therefore, what we thought of as ourselves, namely the physicality of the body in particular, but of the subtlety of the mind and the intellect also in general, all of that can be visualized from where we are right now as Shubhangam, because the body, mind and intellect that we thought of as ourselves, we have come out of them and are visualizing our universality, our omnipresence, our eternity, our omnipotence, and our omniscience. And therefore, these tools of BMI, body, mind, and intellect, right below us, are nothing but Shubhangam, a part of an eternal, infinite chain. And that's why you can visualize an infinity loop, a horizontal way of writing the figure 8, the figure of merit, so to speak. All our karmic connections, all our genetic connections, all our academic connections are all encompassed here, not only from the past, but into the future too. It's said that the child is the father of man, and that is encompassed in going not only from minus infinity to zero, the current time, but to plus infinity of all our future generations, not necessarily those biologically born to us, but of all living entities that are going to evolve out of us, including through our sharing of knowledge and wisdom in an academic setting or in a spiritual setting like this. That is the very, very significant step that we are taking in kids, in the kindergarten, to intimately discover self. This is our first opportunity to go beyond the physical, cross the interface at the Sahasrara and arrive at the Matrupitru Chakra. At the Matrupitru Chakra, we are recognizing our bodies, minds, and intellects as part and parcel of an infinite loop of ancestry, both genetic and academic, and into the future in terms of our descendants, once again both genetically and academically. Just be in this moment. Observe the body is not you. Observe the mind is not you. Observe the intellect is not you. All of these are Shubhangam, auspicious parts of that one universality that we ourselves are. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Atma Brahma, Tattvamasi Prajnanam Brahma. And the prana, the life energy with which we are able to now recognize that it wasn't right to say I am the body, mind and intellect, nor was it right to say it is my body, my mind and my intellect. It is all imaginary. It is an integral part of Kala Chakra, the time chakra, the space chakra. That's infinitely sized omnipresence, infinitely sized eternity. And that's very significant that without any planning, we are able to do this on a day which marks the beginning of that fortnight every year. Out of the 24 to 26 that can occur every year, it's that fortnight which is special to pay obeisance, prostrations and salutations to our ancestry, and while considering that the child is the father of man, to our future descendants as well. Those who are born out of us, those who learn from us, all of them are all spokes of Kala Chakra. If you think of space-time as a wheel, Mahakala encompasses it, Kala Bhairava destroys it, and essentially each and every one of us are that Kala Bhairava, are that Mahakala, with our energy being Mahakali. And now we can witness our own bodies, our own minds and our own intellects as mere spokes in this infinite wheel of space-time rotating below us. We are centered right here in the Matrupitru Chakra as a witness to the Shubhanga, the infinitesimal nature of our bodies, the infinitesimal nature of our emotional minds, the infinitesimal nature of our thoughtful intellects, all contained as Shubhangam, the infinite universal Paramapurusha body that we really are, the infinite intelligence that we are, and the absence of all emotions and mind that we are. That everythingness and nothingness simultaneously has a principle of uncertainty between matter and energy, recognizing that matter is imaginary, including dark matter, subsumes into dark energy, Mahakali, Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam, Padmanabam Suresham, Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrusham, Meghavarnam Shubhangam, 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 Shubhangam. Having just had a glimpse of this out of the body experience, let's deepen it further. And go further up from the Matrupitru Chakra to the Guru Gayatri Chakra, a few more inches away from our fontanel, keeping our back vertical so that the spinal cord is straight up, and through its Sushumna Nadi, the subtle nerve center in between the Ida and Pingala, all of which we have transcended because we are no longer masculine or feminine. We are universal, all encompassing. Lakshmi Kanta, Lakshmi Kanta at the Guru Gayatri Chakra. Lakshmi is not a goddess. Lakshmi is Lakshya's energy. What is Lakshya? The target, our eventual ultimate goal of moksha, mukti, nirvana, liberation from the cyclic nature, from the habitual patterns, from all that is materialistic to that which is spirit, spirit and spirit alone. And at this Guru Gayatri Chakra, we recognize that we have reached our goal. Right here, right now, we are at the goal of that liberation. That liberation belongs to us as we have stopped our breath. The inhalation that we took all the way from Shantakaram, Bhujagashayanam, Padmanabam, Suresham, Vishwadaram, Gagana Sadrusham, Meghavarnam, Shubhangam is now into Lakshmi Kantam in a kumbhaka, or a retention of the breath in fullness, recognizing our infinite nature of omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience and eternity. We are that magnet of Kanta that attracts this energy which propelled us from not only the Muladhara but the 7 planes of existence below that of tamasic nature. We crossed the tamasic gunas of lethargy, laziness and inertia. We crossed over the rajasic gunas of passion, aggression and action. We crossed over the sattvic gunas of peace and purity, and with all of that intuition, we came to our nothingness and were propelled out of the body into the Shubhanga at the Matrupitru Chakra to recognize how we are a spoke in this Kala Chakra. If we thought of ourselves as body, mind, intellect, now that the BMI is below us, something that can be intuitively seen right below us and separate from us as an imaginary projection, we now go further up to the Guru Gayatri Chakra as Lakshmikanta. We are Lakshmikanta. We are that magnet, that target, that ultimate goal of moksha, mukti, nirvana, that this energy which helped us target it has helped us achieve the total inhalation and the retention of that breath in Kumbhaka. The beginning, we cannot stay there for long enough. So we have to come down, reduce our fullness, our infinite nature, and back to the Matru Pitru Chakra as Kamala Nayanam. Back at the Matru Pitru Chakra during an exhalation, we are Kamala Nayanam. Kamala is lotus. We already encountered it at the Manipura Chakra as Padma. And there we talked about Padma Nabha. And Nabhi, we said, is the umbilical cord connecting us to our past, to the history, and therefore to our memory, which we shall not be burdened by, but use it for our learning. But right now we are talking of another name of the lotus instead of Padma, Kamala. But instead of Nabhi, we are now talking about Nayanam, or the eyes, not the physical eyes which we are above right now, but the third eye of intuition that we had encountered already at the Agnya. And Kamala Nayanam refers to our imagination of the future. Just like the memory at the Nabhi was of the past and could be used for learning, but most people use it as a burden. Similarly, the imagination of the future at the Matru Pitru Chakra, where the child is the father of man, causes many people anxiety about their children, about their future, be it relationships, the wealth, health, or whatever. Worries about the future, about things that have not even happened yet. And that's where we need to do exactly what we did with our memory at the Manipura. We now do with our imagination at the Matru Pitru Chakra. We recognize that it's a very useful tool for planning, for strategizing, and creating kalpas and sankalpas about the future that we can get done as per our free will. It is the summation of all our free will executed in the past that has brought us to this particular karmic stage of accepting things as they are right now. But we still have the free will at this moment to change the future in a million ways. And that's essentially what the imagination should be used for, not to develop anxiety about the future, fear about the future. No, the Matru Pitru Chakra lets us know once again that we are a part of that infinity in an infinitesimal sense if we think of ourselves as body, mind, and intellect, because that imagination is a faculty of the intellect through reasoning and logic. It does an extrapolation in time from what our memory we have got. And therefore, just like the memory has to be like a lotus, the imagination needs to be like a lotus as well. And what is that? Detachment, Vairagya. Recollect what we said at the Manipura. The memory has to be detached, has to be full of Vairagya. History is to teach us lessons, how to execute our present, not to be feeling guilty about, not to be feeling sad about, not to create negative emotions. Similarly, the imagination is also for us to execute our free will according to appropriate sankalpas as the Ichcha Shakti, and therefore we do not need to carry it as a burden, just like the person carrying the luggage, heavy luggage on his hands or head is stupid and silly and idiotic. We've been doing the same with our memory at the Manipura and the imagination at the Matrupitru Chakra of the child is the father of the man, worrying about our child, be it a biological child or our student or our own creativity of various things like a business or whatever it might be, the plans that we are making for the future. Whether those plans come alive or not happens according to our own karmic laws of what we have done, not just at this moment, but as an accumulation from the past. And therefore, not everything is in our hands, yet we could execute our free will and put in our best attempts. Once again, while recognizing that we are not the body, mind and intellect, and these are tools that we are utilizing to execute this. So, let's once again revisit how we went up there and how we have started our return journey through the exhalation. Let's inhale slowly. Shantakaram bhujagashayanam padmanabam suresham Vishwadharam gaganasadrusham meghavarnam shubhangam Lakshmi kantam kamalanayanam yogi vidhyanagamyam. I will not leave you floating around like that until the next video tomorrow. I am bringing you back to the interface between the metaphysical that we visited today, back to the physical at the fontanel at the Sahasrara. Yogi Vidhyanagamyam. Yogi, the person who has seen it all, the union of himself or herself or itself, to be more precise, with the universality, with eternity. That yogi is having completely dissolved the universe into himself, not himself into the universe. The macrocosm has dissolved into our microcosm, and that's how we are a true yogi, and our exhalation journey will continue tomorrow. So stay with this thought of Yogi Vidhyanagamyam, a yogi who has brought in the entire universe and eternity into oneself, and that's ourself, and we are that yogi. It's not another saint of the past, present or future, but we ourselves are that Yogi Vidhyanagamyam, and our exhalation journey back to our source, to our root, will continue tomorrow. Let's complete today's session once again with 3 chants of Aum. Also always recognize that as we chant, we inhale and energize ourselves, and as we exhale silently, we relax into restfulness, and our attention comes back to the Muladhara Chakra. Akara, Ukara and Makara, 3 chakras each. Akara with the Muladhara Swadhisthana Manipura, Ukara with the Anahata Vishuddhi Agnya, and Makara with the Sahasrara Matrupitru and Guru Gayatri. Let's get going. Backs vertically erect, hands in Chin Mudra, Yoga Mudra or Jnana Mudra, whatever your gurus have called it for you. Essentially putting together the prana and the buddhi in a loop, and letting the body and mind be with ourself, Atman Parabrahman. with the palms facing upwards, with the head slightly tilted backwards and upwards. The focus going slowly from chakra to chakra, starting with the Muladhara. The mouth wide open and uttering only the sound of ah as we close it, and let the sound morph into oo and Namaskaram and Jai Hind. Jaya Jaya, Jaya Jaya, the original name of the Mahabharata, of which the Vishnu Sahasranama is a part, and of which the Dhyana Shloka of Shantakaram that we are encountering is even smaller part.